Analyze the situation carefully, because I am going to present a quantitative reality that most individuals prefer to ignore, yet it remains essential for any serious discussion on capital. You are financially stagnant. This is not a function of your gross income, nor is it a result of systemic economic failure or a lack of fortunate timing. Your capital is evaporating because you are misallocating resources into depreciating assets that offer zero internal rate of return. Before you dismiss this objective truth due to personal bias, consider the following. I engineered my firm's success by mastering a singular mathematical principle that defines global finance. High net worth individuals prioritize capital deployment into productive assets. The financially illiterate spend their liquidity on liabilities while mislabeling them as investments. It is a binary reality, and it is fundamentally unforgiving. Now, I anticipate your skepticism. You expect a billionaire to lecture you on the marginal cost of a daily coffee. That is incorrect. This is not about marginal consumption. This is about 5 specific institutional level errors in personal spending that are fundamentally sabotaging your compounded future growth. I will perform a structural analysis of these right now. However, initial action is required if you are committed to institutional grade wealth building, if you intend to exit the cycle of subsistence living, if you aim for true financial sovereignty instead of perpetual labor, then engage with this platform immediately. Join this network. We are institutionalizing a mindset here, a collective of strategists who view currency as a strategic tool, not a recreational toy. Let us analyze the primary leak in your balance sheet that requires immediate termination: new automotive acquisitions. This subject triggers emotional responses, but data is indifferent to feelings. Purchasing a brand new vehicle is statistically one of the most inefficient capital allocations possible. I am going to demonstrate this using fundamental arithmetic. The moment that vehicle exits the showroom, you experience a 20% to 30% instantaneous haircut on your principal. It vanishes. It is liquidated. You have essentially burned thousands of dollars for the psychological benefit of a fresh interior smell. Within 12 months, your loss reaches 30%. By the 3rd year, 50% of your initial capital is erased. You haven't acquired a transport solution. You have acquired a metal case depreciation engine. But the systemic failure goes deeper. People leverage these assets. They utilize high interest debt, 5, 6, 7%, to fund a commodity that loses value faster than any market crash in history. You are paying a premium for the right to lose money. That is fiscal negligence. And do not get me started on the inefficiency of leasing. Leasing is the ultimate failure of logic. You are paying a rental fee for a declining asset, which ensures that at the term's conclusion, your equity is exactly zero. You transferred your liquidity to the dealership for the temporary usage of their inventory. Congratulations. You have maximized the dealership's profit margins while ensuring your own insolvency. I hear the defensive arguments already. You say you require mechanical reliability for your family or your professional commute, naturally. Acquire a 3-year-old certified pre-owned vehicle. Let a previous owner absorb the initial volatility of depreciation. You secure a functional asset, often with residual warranty, at a 50% discount. That is called disciplined capital management. That is how sophisticated investors operate. We are not interested in social signaling to neighbors. We are focused on net worth accumulation. During the formative years of my firm, I maintained a modest vehicle that provided utility without luxury. Did it impact my ego? Perhaps. Did it impact my balance sheet? It preserved it. That is the divergence. The poor spend capital to simulate wealth. The wealthy deploy capital to generate more wealth. Identify your objective. You cannot optimize for both. Your vehicle is a zero signal of true net worth. Your brokerage statement is the only objective metric of success. Every dollar misallocated to a new car is a dollar removed from the power of compounding, dividends, and market growth. This is the foundational error. It establishes a trajectory of poor decision making. They prioritize the perception of success over the reality of success. This leads to the second factor, keeping you stagnant, something more dangerous because it is culturally validated as a wise move. The second thing to stop is excessive residential scaling. This will be controversial because a generational myth suggests your primary residence is your premier asset. It is not. Your home is your primary liability. Let me provide the definition. An asset generates cash flow into your accounts. A liability extracts cash flow from your accounts. Your reside extracts liquidity every single month. Debt service, taxation, insurance, maintenance, energy, and upkeep. It is a capital drain. The larger the square footage, the larger the drain. But people argue real estate is a guaranteed appreciation play. Is it? Ask those who bought at the 2007 peak. Ask those currently facing negative equity. Real estate is a localized, cyclical market that requires luck. Even with appreciation, that capital is illiquid unless you exit your primary shelter or take on further debt. And understand this about debt. Debt is a mechanism that accelerates the wealthy and traps the uninformed. Using leverage to acquire equities or scale a business is strategic debt because it targets growth. Using leverage for an oversized mansion is destructive debt because it scales a liability. It is irrational. Individuals maximize their borrowing capacity to the limit. If a lender offers $500,000, they spend $500,000. That is madness. The lender is not your fiduciary. The lender wants you in maximum debt because you are their revenue stream. They are your creditor, not your advisor. They want 30 years of guaranteed interest. Do you realize the total cost of a $500,000 home over 3 decades? It exceeds $800,000 with interest. You are gifting $300,000 to a financial institution for the privilege of borrowing. That isn't growth. That is a wealth transfer from you to the bank. Here is the strategic pivot. Acquire 50% of what the lender permits. If approved for $500,000, target $250,000. Aesthetics like granite or closets are secondary to solvency. Buy for utility, not for ego. Then reallocate that monthly surplus, the money saved on taxes, interest, and utilities into the market. Build a diversified portfolio. Accumulate yield-producing equities. Let that capital work for you instead of you working for the bank's shareholders. This is the institutional secret. We live significantly below our means. Warren Buffett, a titan of industry, resides in a home purchased in the 1950s for $31,000. Why? Because he calculates the opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on an unnecessary room is a dollar that cannot compound at 20% in a portfolio. Opportunity cost is the invisible wealth destroyer. The third factor, which may be uncomfortable, is excessive culinary spending. I am referring to the daily erosion caused by dining out, delivery services, and premium coffee. You are bleeding capital on calories without a second thought. Analyze the data. The median expenditure on external dining is roughly $3,000 annually. $3,000. Do you know what $3,000 invested annually over 30 years yields at a 10% market return? Over $500,000? You are sacrificing $500,000 of future security for a meal that lasts 30 minutes and is forgotten tomorrow. In reality, most spend much more. Morning lattes, office lunches, fatigue-driven takeout, and weekend brunches. It compounds against you. People claim they lack investment capital while holding a $15 salad. You have the capital. You are simply choosing consumption over compounding. I am not suggesting total austerity. I am suggesting strategic consumption. Prepare meals at home. Optimize your week. This isn't a sacrifice. It's a high ROI decision. When you do dine out, ensure it is a high-value experience, not a result of poor planning or laziness. The wealthy understand the unit value of a dollar. The poor believe small outflows are irrelevant. Small outflows become massive shortfalls over decades. Massive shortfalls prevent wealth. The fourth factor is the acquisition of redundant apparel and status symbols. I'm not just talking about luxury horology or handbags, though those are capital killers. I'm talking about the cycle of seasonal fashion and sneaker culture. Your wardrobe is likely a graveyard of impulsive purchases. That isn't a collection, it's a portfolio of bad trades. Here is the reality of social dynamics. No one of significance is monitoring your attire. The people judging your outfit are usually the ones you shouldn't be emulating anyway. What impresses me is a robust balance sheet and institutional independence, not a closet of items that will be obsolete in 6 months. This is about the psychology of the consumer trap. Society is engineered to make you feel inadequate, so you spend. The tech and fashion sectors thrive on your insecurity. Let me explain the high net worth approach. We buy durable quality. We use things until their utility is exhausted. We ignore trends. We ignore strangers. Buy quality once and refocus on the mission. Your capital belongs in the market, not in a corporation's quarterly earnings report because they sold you an image. Your value is determined by what you build, not what you wear. Finally, the fifth factor is the subscription bleed. Unused gym memberships, forgotten streaming platforms, and recurring digital